Hi, everybody. Thanks so much for coming and staying, even though I know that you're probably all starving. I know I'm hungry because I don't eat before I talk. So I'm going to have to pretend that I've eaten in order for this demo to work. So I'm going to be talking about quantifying your fitness. I put this together because I was frustrated with the way that Fitbit gave me the feedback. They tell you if you're at 75% and at 100%, but really what you need to know is if you're at 5% at noon, so that you can get off your butt and do some working. So, who am I? I am Princess Polymath. I'm Sinedra on Twitter. Please feel free to tweet whatever you would like about me. My bosses actually watch my Twitter stream, so it's super handy. I work at Akamai as an API evangelist. I travel around and teach our customers how to use our APIs. I have about 10 years of experience using and supporting APIs. I worked at LinkedIn, I've worked at Netflix. I've worked at a lot of places where people were frustrated with APIs. So I travel the world teaching companies how to create APIs that don't make developers cry, and teaching developers how to use APIs without crying. We have terribly frustrated developers out there with APIs, and we're ready to move to a more mature model. But one of the things I like to do is play with APIs and get them to do fancy things. So this is one of those demos that I have. It's designed to sort of inspire you guys and give you ideas about what you might want to do. So first of all, why should I quantify it? So you say, I'm going to get up in the morning and I'm going to ride on my exercise bicycle for half an hour. And you get up in the morning and ride on your exercise bicycle for half an hour, and then you're like, yay me. And you look around, is anyone gonna give me any credit for this? No, sorry, not gonna happen. So strangely, it turns out that if you tell a computer to tell you when you're doing a good job or when you need to step it up, you end up feeling more motivated. This external motivation is much more motivating. This is sort of external feedback is much more motivating than just keeping track of it yourself. And we're all developers, so we all know the situation where we're sitting and we're plugging away at our code. We forget to eat all day, and we don't walk all day, and it get to 5 o'clock, and you finally look at your Fitbit, and you're like, whoa, I've gone like 200 steps. Okay, so now what do, right? You have to spend your entire evening doing exercise or just wait until tomorrow. So this is designed to help you, just give you a little reminder every time your Fitbit syncs to say, how am I doing? Am I keeping up on my stuff? The things that I measure are, am I eating enough protein? I like to eat 80 grams of protein because that keeps me from eating other things that are not protein. And I like to burn about 2,500 calories a day. And when I do those two things, I feel like I've done a good job for the day and I'm taking care of my health. So I'm going to do a live demo here, which will be entertaining. Hopefully it will work. It usually does. I've actually never had it fail, so this is its first opportunity to fail. But I promise it generally works. So the system. I use MyFitnessPal. I don't know if you guys are familiar with MyFitnessPal. It's actually a really cool little app. It's got a website. You can put in your activities. You can put in your foods that you've eaten. It's much better than Fitbit. With Fitbit, you only get to add either things that you specifically have added or things that they think belong in the database. MyFitnessPal is much more crowdsourced. If someone says, hey, I'm doing Bikram yoga, and no one else has done Bikram yoga, they can put in the information. Fitbit thinks there's one kind of yoga. And for those of you who have gone to power yoga and also vinyasa and Iyengar and all of the ones that are good for relaxing and being flexible as opposed to the ones that are like running a marathon, it's not the same in terms of calories. So you should be able to put that information in there, and then other people can share it as well. So MyFitnessPal is much better than Fitbit for that. But Fitbit has a fantastic API, and MyFitnessPal, not so much. Maybe they have a fantastic API. I don't know. I've asked 17 times for access to their beta program, and I've been accepted 0. So I just use the Fitbit as kind of a grand central station of information. It knows what I weigh from my scale. It knows what activities I do from Fitbit and from MyFitnessPal. If I had a a blood pressure monitor from Withings. It would keep track of that as well. It keeps track of my heart rate. It knows how well I sleep. So there's a lot of things I can measure, and I'm planning to add more of these things. You could even have your lamps tell you how stressed you are based on what your heart rate is, and tell you to go take a walk when you're in between two very stressful meetings. So Twilio, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Twilio. Twilio is a great API company. There are API companies out there that do things that are amazing, which is they make impossible things easy. Telephony is hard. You have to talk to the phone companies. You have to get everything working. In sending an SMS is a lot of work if you don't have that relationship with the telephone industry. Twilio does that for you. It's a simple REST API. They charge a little bit per SMS or per voice call. They actually do voice calls. They have conference calls. They have all of the pieces of telephony that you might want. They even transcribe things for you. The Phillips You. So I have my strip over there. I don't know if it's close enough, but we'll see. I have two Go lights. They have other lights as well. The Phillips Hue is great for external praise. It gives you ambient praise. You walk in, your lights are green. Hey, this is great. So what I do is I start with red in the morning, and then as I progress through the day, I go to orange, and then yellow and green as I work through my 80 grams of protein and my 2,500 calories. However, they don't have a remote API. I used to use if this then that, and that was really great. But the last time I gave this talk, if this then that stopped talking to my Philips Hue lights a day before the demo. I always check the demo several days before the demo, once a day. And if this then that did not provide me with any help, and Philips Hue did not either, they said it's their fault. So I wrote something that would access the remote API pretending to be an iPhone. And this is how you do it. You masquerade as an iPhone. You have to get a token, which means you kind of have to go through the OAuth dance. You can't automate this part. And then you sort of right-click on the link to find out what the token is. Then you create a JSON post body, which is not beautiful, and it's in my code, so you can go ahead and look at it on GitHub. And then you send it. And if you have sent properly formatted JSON, it will give you 200. This, however, does not mean that you've sent any kind of message that it understands or cares about. But you get a 200 because you did a good job of making a JSON object. So and so when I tried to figure this out, it was kind of like bobbing for apples in a really, really deep bucket. I was like, how does this work? No. How about this? Some other people had created libraries to kind of do it, so I was able to figure out how to do it, but the only way you know is if your lights change. And even better for a demo, let me just tell you that the lights take a few seconds to change. So I have to fill. So you'll notice me filling while I wait. So I'm going to set the colors using. If you go ahead and look at my code and decide you want to know how you're doing with your weight, and you have a dessert light that changes color based on where you are, you can use my code. And the Phillips Hue API itself is similar to the remote API. So once you know how to make these magical pieces of JSON, which are really awful, then you can get it to do all the other things as well. Some of the awesome things about the API are if I'm going to be setting it with groups action, but if you're going to set one light, it's light status. It's exactly the same. We have different names for it, which is, there's nothing that's not great about that. Okay, before I get to the demo, because I want to let you guys get to lunch fairly soon, I will make a shameless plug for my book, irresistibleapis.com, how to make APIs that your developers will love. First chapter's free. It's on Manning. It's going to be in print form at the end of the summer. All right, so let's see if oh, yay, it found my lights. And semantic notifications. Thank you, IT department. Okay, so first of all, let's see if we can turn everybody off, because I want to get that guy off. Well, we'll just see if that happens. Okay, so let's take a look quickly at the application logs to see what I'm doing. I can show you the code, but I'm very short on time, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the logs and promise you that I will be here the rest of the day, and I will go over the code with you separately if you're interested in seeing it. So let's go ahead and sync my Fitbit. It's my secret pocket. Sorry, no pockets in the cute dress. That's the world of women. Okay, so what happens is I'm going to sync my iPhone. Now, you see my bridge here. It is connected to my computer. It is only connected to my computer for Ethernet. All of this runs in the cloud. You don't have to have your home system do anything. I think it's terrible and it stinks to have a server running at your home to do something. I use Modulus. Modulus is a fantastic hosting service. They're great for Node applications. It works really easily. It's basically like GitHub, and it just runs. Oh, look, I synced my phone. Okay, orange, that's cool. I was hoping for red, but that's that. So we're going to go ahead and pretend like I ate something. I'll eat something in a little bit. I'll eat some meat pies, apparently, which sounds really yummy. Okay, so I'm going to tell my fitness pal that... Yes, thank you. I also get an SMS that tells me that I have not logged my foods today. So let's go to food and add a breakfast food. We'll add eggs. And we really want it to be interested in what we've done, so I'm going to go ahead and add 5 eggs. I never eat 5 eggs, but it doesn't know that. All right, so now... assuming that my fitness pal synced correctly with Fitbit, which it generally does, I'm going to sync again. This is my Fitbit app. And it's going to take a little while because I'm watching it. It's like a watch pot never boils, a watch Fitbit never syncs. So it's going to send me an SMS. Let's go look at the logs. So we're going to start streaming the logs. Come on, baby. I talk to all my things. Okay, so I have a subscription. One of the things about the Fitbit API is that we have a pub-sub model, so I can subscribe and say, tell me when there's a change in activities. So, come on, guys. No, all right, they'll get there. It is one of the problems with the Phillips You API is that the lights don't always change immediately or anytime that you want them to. So I'm doing something with the credentials. Basically, I'm grabbing the credentials. I know what my phone number is. I know how to deal with it. These are the endpoints that I'm accessing. This is the summary for food. This is all coming from Fitbit. My activities, maybe I'm still orange. I need to eat more eggs. My protein percentages, oh yes, well, I do need to eat more eggs. Okay, so what it's looking at is what's the average. So the average between 53%, my calorie percentage, that's what I've burned, and my protein percentage, which is 38%, is still under 50%, which is why it is not interested in changing the colors. So let's eat, what should I eat? Bacon? Let's have some bacon. All right, we're going to have some bacon, and we're going to have a goodly amount of it. Well, the bacon's great. I mean, you all been to that conference? I'm going to have 8 pieces of bacon. Now I'm going to look and see, look at that, I've eaten 79 grams of protein now. Bacon is a great protein source. It also has apparently some fat in it, who knew? but there you go. So, we're streaming. So we're going to go ahead and sync again. Just go right over there and sync. There you go. Okay. And then we should get yellow, probably. So while we're waiting for this to happen, I want to say that a couple of the things that I want to deal with are sleep. If I have good sleep at night, that's important. If I'm not having good sleep, then I want to know about it, because it means that I'm not, there's something wrong. I'd like to be alerted in the morning, hey, your sleep was like this. I don't want it to ask me how my sleep was. That's not very helpful. Oh man, it didn't put in my new calories. The rope is yellow, and these guys are not paying attention. All right. Well, let's try that one more time. So generally, they do work. The Go lights are a little bit flakier than the lights that go in the lamps. I don't know why, but they're sitting right next to the bridge, so they should work. But you can see that it is actually doing what it does. And since I sync all day long, they generally get to where they need to be. So let's see. I'm pretty close to my time. Does anybody have any questions while we wait for these guys to do something? Anybody? Can't see? No? Nobody has any questions? They're still not working. All right, well, they decided, yes. I'm green. I went along so well that all those bacons made me green. This is awesome. So I have succeeded in my day. I had 5 eggs and 8 strips of bacon, and now I can have Ben and Jerry's. All right, so that's the system. Like I said, it's available on GitHub. It's under Synedra. Oh, look, that guy changed too. Oh. He's way over there, so I don't notice. The code is available on GitHub. It's in Node.js. It's very, very simple. I don't have a lot of objects. I'm trying to make this a sample that you can use, so I threw it all into a single index.js so you can see how all the different pieces work together. And I love feedback. I'd love to get feedback about what kinds of things you guys would like to track, what examples you'd like to have. I'd be happy to do something with weight or sleep or heart rate or whatever else people are interested in. Currently, we don't have glucose measuring watches. Yes, I do have 2 watches. It's because this one is a Fitbit, and it has an API that I like, and I can get my data. And this is because I'm an Apple fangirl, but it is the Roach Motel of data. Data checks in, but it doesn't check out. This data I'm making with my body. I'm making this data with my body, and it goes into my watch, and it can go over to my phone. And then I could make an iPhone app that posts it somewhere else, but that's against Apple's terms of service because it's their data once my body's done making it. So there you have it. Anyways, it's meat pie time, and I'll change my eggs and bacon to meat pies presently. But thanks very much.
All right. Thank you so much, Kirsten. Yes, we can do 1 or 2 questions for sure, if you would like to. Is she? Oh.
I won't feel bad if you go and run to get the meat pies.
No, we get like a minute or 2 to kill. So you, come over if you'd like. Oh, yes. Come over to the couch. It's great over here. So thank you so much for that useful talk. One of my main questions actually was, if you don't have something like a Fitbit or an Apple Watch, like how would you suggest someone would track their data?
Oh, you can totally use like Runkeeper or any of the other apps that work on the phones. Mm-hmm. It works on Android, it works on the iPhone, and you could still sync it with Fitbit, or you could use Runkeeper as another great Grand Central Station API. That'll keep track of a lot of different pieces of information. So The disadvantage with Runkeeper is that I'm not positive that their API will stick around as much as I am positive that the Fitbit API is going to stick around. But that's how you could do it, just with your phone.
Awesome. And one more question. What's your favorite API?
My favorite API is probably the Fitbit API. I do like Twitter, but the Fitbit API does what it does so well, and they have really great developer support. So,
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kirsten.
sure.
Okay.